to the point where I have people telling me, hey man, I hope you don't feel like I'm pressuring you. Mike, the last thing that I feel like you're doing to me, man, is pressuring me. That's the last thing that I'm feeling from you. I'm talking from the heart. They feel me.
A place of love.
A place of love.
Yeah. So one common thing that I hear with your story is like, look, you're motivated, you're driven, like you're pushing harder. You were making a ton of money, but you were still pushing. And you just said, I get 1% better every day. And then you also said, I've been through a lot, right? So what I'm trying to figure out, and what I've always tried to figure out with people is like, how do you replicate that, right? Like, how do you replicate that person that wants to, go out and quit their 9-to-5, get in remote closing, be driven to make it happen, or they're in remote closing and they want to make that $80K in a month, which maybe to some people sounds astronomical, and it is astronomical, but it's doable, right? Like it's possible. Mm-hmm. And so what's the secret, man? Like, how do you, what drives you? Like, what is that driving force behind it?
I think for me, it's the vision for how I want my life to look like. And I've just recently found this out. I'm just recently learning that most people don't know what they want. And I'm recently, to me, it's shocking. It's like, how do you not know what you want? Mm-hmm. But apparently, that's like 80+% of people out there is, to your point, if you pull them out on the street and say, well, what do you want? They might just go, well, what do you mean? I know exactly what I want. I can literally right now lay out every single thing that I want for my life, and I can explain it to you vividly. And I have this, I don't know how, it just plays in my head all the time. This is what I'm going for. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. This is where I want to go. This vision is always playing. So I tend to be a little bit more of a visionary, right? I've always been, like, even in school, just in my imaginations and my thoughts. So I didn't really pay attention when it came to the books and stuff. I was always just thinking, right? Yeah. I was just always in my own head. I was always like drawing what I wanted, houses, cars, wife, this, kids, right? All of that was just, I think I'm clear on what I want. So I think the first step is probably getting clarity to figure out, what are you doing for what you're doing for? What is the purpose of you wanting to do this? Well, I know I need to make a lot of money for the life that I want. So then it pushes me to understand and realize you got to put in the work. Dude, I look at my life like an hourglass, right? The sand is falling right now. And in fact, 30-40% of that sand has already fallen. I don't have that much time left. So I operate with urgency. I go to a scary place in my head of dying a lot. And I put myself there, close to the deathbed, or I vision that moment of what life's gonna look like. And I start getting scared and I start being fearful. And I'm like, I don't got time. I have to do things now. Tomorrow's not promised.
Dang.
Right? Tomorrow's not promised. So I take myself deep into these dark places where I don't want to sit and have that conversation with myself where you could have done this, you should have done that, and you didn't do this. I don't want to be having that conversation with myself right on my deathbed. So what inspires me is I know what I need to do. I know exactly the life I want to have. I know exactly how many houses I want to own, how many cars I want to own, how I want my ideal life to look. I have this whole thing in my mind. So I think that brings me the clarity that I need to understand, what am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I doing what I'm doing? What am I doing it for, right?
It keeps a drive. It keeps
that drive.
It keeps me it keeps you going, right? It keeps you going when things get tough, they get uncomfortable, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, exactly. And anytime you feel like you want to slack off or you don't want to have discipline, right? Or you want to depend on motivation, go to the deathbed. Go to the deathbed. Mike, is that, do you not want the life that you said you want, right? And start having that conversation. It's a scary moment. It's a scary moment. And then you get your ass in gear and you're like, let's go. And so, but then I realized as time went on, right? We all know motivation only lasts, right? You got to find inspiration within. But even more than inspiration is, as I've gotten older and matured more, I just realized, dude, like Bedros always talks about, just you have to do the thing even when you don't want to do it. It's just discipline. It doesn't matter how you feel, right? So once you get clarity on what you want and you're able to, get clear on that, then it's understanding that. But Yeah, in a nutshell, that's where I forgot the exact question you asked, but I think
what drives you? What motivates you?
That's for me. That's what it is. I just know what I want.
Wow,
I'm very clear on it. I can literally lay it out.
That's a great question for the audience listening right now. Do you know what you want? I wonder how many people would say, I know exactly what I want.
Yeah.
Mike, that's powerful.
I would love to run a poll and find out.
We'll run a poll. Yeah, we run a poll. Inside this Closers Network, we'll run a poll because that's a great question. That's what drives Mike.
Yeah.
The hourglass. Dude, I've never thought of the hourglass. I'll be honest with you. I've never thought of the hourglass.
And one thing I'll add to this, Rich, is I was fortunate to have a couple family members around me that were successful and made some money in business. And I think, it wasn't like, I think that really showed me that I can do it too. Because these were like family members, right? Maybe it was an uncle or something or whatnot. And I realized like, man, this person, he was probably like the most successful person in my immediate family. And he's been able to do this. I'm cut from the same cloth. That's at least how I felt in my teenage years. And so it kind of gave me a little bit of confidence to know like, and believe like, dude, I could have the life that I want. All I got to do is put in the work. It was that simple to me. I always saw my uncle was a hard worker. And I always realized, well, dude, he came here as a foreigner. He didn't have an education or background, and he was able to do X, Y, and Z. Why can't I? What does he have that I don't, right? In a good way. And so this is what I realized. And now I adapt that same mentality to anybody. Like, what does this person have that I don't? Why can't I emulate their success? Of course I can. Are you willing to do what it takes to get to where you want to go?
That's powerful, man. That's powerful. Hey guys, one question that Mike and I get asked all the time is how do I go from where I'm at now to making $10,000 to $30,000 a month in remote closing? And Mike and I are big believers in coaching in general. We spent thousands upon thousands of dollars to get to where we're at now. So what we've done is we've just released one-on-one coaching for those of you watching this that want to break into the space and start making big commission checks now. One-on-one help, one-on-one guidance to show you exactly what to do, what not to do, when to do it to get you the results that you want. If you're watching this and you want to apply for coaching with us, now every month we're going to accept 5 coaching students into the program that want to get to that $10,000 to $30,000 a month mark. If that's you, all you got to do is go to bit.ly/Closers Network Coaching, or you can click the link in the description below. Back to the podcast. Let me ask you this. What would you say is the most profound piece of sales advice that you've ever been given?
What I find profound, and as I've gotten more experience and accelerated in the field, is really the ability to be honest. And to have raw talk and to have those conversations that most people find uncomfortable or challenging to have. But instead of like thinking like, I got to sell this person or I got to, shove this thing down their throat. Like if you could just think like, can I help this person make a decision? Do they want to change? Can I help them change? Are they willing to accept it? To me, being honest and being able to give them some tough love has been probably the best piece of advice that I can give to anybody. That way, for me, it's like, you're almost like a coach.
Yeah.
Right? You're having an honest conversation. You can call this person out. You built some rapport. You did this good discovery. It gives you the opportunity to give tough love at the end of the call, assuming you've done some of the few things in the beginning of the call, right?
Yeah.
So I guess for me, man, if there was one, and I'm sure there's more, and I'm not thinking of them right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more, but if I can give one piece of advice to anyone out there, is to learn how to start selling with honesty. And not being afraid to have some uncomfortable conversations without having to be disrespectful or unprofessional, right? Where you build that rapport, you build that relationships, to the point where I have people telling me, hey man, I hope you don't feel like I'm pressuring you. Mike, the last thing that I feel like you're doing to me, man, is pressuring me. That's the last thing that I'm feeling from you. I'm talking from the heart. They feel me.
A place of love.
A place of love.
Yeah.
Honesty,
concern.
right? And they, whether I'm on a Zoom call or a phone call, they feel that. Right? There's a feeling that translates when that happens. And so if you can learn how to not be scared to lose the deal and to have an honest conversation, I think that's my sales superpower too. Is to be able to have raw talk and to flip my cap and put Coach Mike on the call.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm confident in that because of everything I've been through in my life and all the challenges I've been there. I've done that. So I get it. I get it. Right. And I can have that raw talk. So that would probably be the one.
That's the one. Yeah.
I'm sure. Again, I'm sure there's a dozen more.
I learned that from you. That's the one thing. I mean, I've learned a lot of things from you, but I'll never forget the day you said, you know, Rich, like on this call, I just had to put my coaching hat on. And that was like a profound analogy for me at the time because I was like, dude, you know what? That's right. Like some people, they just need some coaching on how to just make the decision.
What I realized too, Rich, is people weren't getting off the calls.
And they're not getting off the call.
And I realized if the people are not getting off the calls, they're like looking for me to continue coaching them through. They're not telling me, Mike, I got a 4:00 meeting. Mike, I got to jump into another Zoom.
Yeah.
Mike, I'm busy at work. Mike, I'm not interested. They're not telling me this. They're like waiting for me to help them get out of their own way. And that's when Coach Mike comes.
But how do you do that? Like because it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it can be uncomfortable to have those honest conversations. And so how do you do that and not break rapport? You know, where like you're trying to like to be honest with the person, but you also don't want them to think like, dude, you're a dick. Like, I can't believe you told me that. Like, what's that balance?
You better have done a good job building rapport.
Yeah.
Right? That's number one. You better start practicing the person you're talking about being if you're not. Right? Your question is, how does someone do that? Right? It's something you also develop, right? It's you work on it, you get better at it, but you have a true conversation, you have a real conversation, right? And you build great rapport. And I think you have to be you at the end of the day, right? So that's important. You have to learn how to be you and find your style and your flow. And you're not going to resonate with everybody, right? Some people think maybe my energy is too much. I'm sure I've been on sales calls where like the person's thought something of me. That's okay, right? Like I'm not meant to close everybody, but I'm meant to close the people that are willing to have that conversation. So you said, how do you do that while being kind of professional?
Yeah, exactly. Just maintaining rapport. But I think you kind of answered it.
I like also like assuming rapport's been good.
Yeah.
I love throwing a line in the close. Hey, can I make a recommendation? Hey, Rich, you know what, Rich? Can I be honest with you? Right? I speak with authority. Right? I speak not as if, I speak because from experience, and I have that authority and they know that Mike knows something I don't. They feel that I believe on the call because of the way I engage with them and walk with them through and the dance that we have, the rapport building, the discovery. So, but I always love, throwing the line out there. Can I be honest with you? And I've never had one person in my life.
Can I be honest with you?
Tens of thousands, not tens of thousands, probably 10,000 plus calls.
Yeah.
I've never had one person say no. Not once. So for me, that's how I like doing it, right? Assuming all the other stuff's there. Like, can I be honest with you? Who doesn't want you to be honest with them? Let's be real, right? I know some people that don't like honesty, but I think it's all about being honest, dude.
That's profound.
And that way it's like you feel so good about what you're doing. You can go to bed sleeping good at night, feel like you did your best, you tried to help this person out. If they weren't ready, they weren't ready, man. You know? You can't change everyone.
100%.
Right? You can't change
everyone. You can't, If they don't want it, to your point, if they don't want it, like, what are you going to do? I can't do it for you, man. I can't do it for you.
And those people, I know within 5 minutes of a call who that person is. I'll start calling them out. I'll start calling them out. Hey, man, you seem really disengaged. Hey, man, I don't get the feeling like you're even looking to be on this call. Why did you schedule the call? Then I'll start talking. Oh, no, Mike, you know what? This is happening. Start getting clarity. Well, what's happening? Why are you the way you are? These people are just scared. They've been scammed before. This has happened. They just lost money. They don't want to go through that again. You don't know where this person's at. So I love calling them out and then getting clarity. And if the person is just an absolute dick, to your point, then I'm just like, hey, man, honestly, I just don't feel comfortable having the call with you. I just don't want to have this conversation.
You're not the right fit. You're not the right fit.
Interrupt.
Yeah.
When has a salesperson ever told me that I don't want to have a conversation with you? Never. So it's just like I do pattern interrupts where it's like these people are like, this isn't the expected behavior of a normal salesperson, right?
Wow.
And so, yeah.
There's a lot to unpack there. I suggest the audience goes back rewinds that. That's coming from a guy that's taken thousands and thousands of sales calls. I've seen him take sales calls live. Powerful stuff. So walk us through, what do you love most about high ticket sales?
The freedom, man. Without a doubt, the ability to open up your calendar when you want, from where you want, right? I've been on vacations where I'm like, hey, I'm going to Hawaii. I'm going to Mexico.
Yeah.
I'm going to Italy. I'm going here. Guess what? Hey, I'm out here. I like continuing getting some sets and reps. Let me just open my calendar for like 2 slots. And you know, if you got someone showing up to that call, you're closing it. You're already in vacation mood. Your energy's good. You're like the one person that shows up, I'm closing. Sure enough, bro,
Dang.
you close the one person and you feel so good the rest of the vacation that day and everything. You're like, man, the freedom to be, what other opportunity can you do to open up your calendar for 1 hour on vacation, slap $1,000 commission in your pocket deal,
Wow.
and then go on about your vacation and feel like, hey, dinner just paid for itself.
Wow.
So to me, I hate being committed to like a desk. I love, if I want to be at a desk, great. If I want to go outside and take a call, great. If I want to go to Palm Springs and rent a house and have vacation, but take some calls from there, great. I can do that from wherever, whenever. To me, that's the most beautiful thing, right?
That's
is to be able to make multiple 6 figures to do it from where you want and how you want. So like, you're an entrepreneur, you're your own boss, you control your destiny. So I love that the most about the space.
Wow. Now, what would you tell somebody that's like, hey, look, Mike, like I'm really interested in the high ticket space. I got a 9-to-5 right now. Like, how would you kind of coach them through like just making that transition? Because there's a lot of people right now that are maybe tied to a desk. They're in a job that's not, maybe allowing them that freedom, right? Like to your point, man, I can't just go and live anywhere and make money, right? Like that's like a dream for a lot of people. So somebody in that situation, like what would be a practical step they could take? Just a practical step to like move closer to that ideal vision of becoming a high ticket closer and having that freedom and setting their own schedule. Like what would be like just a first practical step for somebody?
Make the decision. Number 1.
Yeah.
Number 1 is decide and stop overthinking. My entire life, I overthinked, right?
Yeah.
My entire life was not even being able to make a decision on what am I going to eat today. I can't even decide that. Bedros really changed that mindset of mine. You got to make decisions quick, right? I was following his content and I was just implementing it. So I didn't know any of this till I fell on his Instagram. And his whole thing was, you got to make decisions quick. You got to pivot fast. If something doesn't work out, you course correct, right? This whole thing. So I would, number 1, say, make a decision, right? And then number 2, make sure you have the right guidance. Like after you made a decision, like this is the for sure thing that you're looking to do, make sure you find the right guidance. And biasly, I'm going to say, work with me, Coach Mike. I will help you find your first 6-figure gig, right?
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
And so I've done it, guys. That's how I met this man right here sitting, right? That's how I ended up where I ended up. That's how I met all the connections and the people and the commissions, right? It didn't happen overnight, but you got to get clear. You got to make decisions quick and stop overthinking.
Yeah.
Like that is a huge issue with people. They just can't decide. They're in their own head. They can't get out of their own way. But that's why I love what I do, because I'm the guy that they jump on the coaching or sales call with, and I get to help them make that decision. I get to inspire them to change their life, right? It's up to them, but I want to help them. And so I would say surround yourself with us in the Closers Network. Get inside of school. Start jumping on live calls. If you're serious about this, you want to almost guarantee you get the result you're looking for, make an investment into coaching with us. Let me be a one-on-one coach for you. I'll work with you for 2 months, 60 days, every week. I'll help you make it happen, right? Hey, once you get an opportunity, you start crushing it, right? You're making money. Well, how do I double, triple, or quadruple my closing ratio now? Guess what? We got something for that too. Coach Trish can help you elevate your game, where you start getting not just in 6 figures. Hey, now you're making multiple 6 figures, right?
Yeah.
You're working your way to a 7-figure opportunity, right? These are things that are all possible, but they have to start with you making a decision. You have to decide, right? And you can't look back. You can't overthink. I like what you said on your podcast, Rich. What's the worst case that could happen? The worst case was, you on your podcast, I'm going to only mention it because you did.
Yeah.
I'm going to move with Haley's parents, worst case. Okay.
That's right.
For me, is I'm just going to move back in with my parents if nothing works out. What's the worst that could happen? And look, that might not be the case for all of you. And we understand that's right.
Yeah.
But I guarantee if you think about it, you have a solution to it, right? The worst case is never as bad as you think it is. In fact, most of the thoughts that we have in our mind, and I think we get 6,000 to 8,000, some say it's a lot more than that, but they say well over 90% of those thoughts are like negative thoughts, right? So you're gonna have negative thoughts, and what you need to do is realize those are thoughts. You're having those thoughts, but they don't necessarily tell you the truth. They don't define reality. They're just thoughts that come and go. It's like an antenna. It's just making room for these thoughts. It doesn't recognize whether it's good or bad, right? So you got to get out of your head, right? And you got to surround yourself with people that can really give you the actual proper advice that you need to implement this and make it happen.
Wow.
That's what I believe.
Boom.
And again, I'm talking all this from experience. It's
100%.
not theory, right? This is stuff I've done and I continue to do. And I've coached a lot of people to help do this as well. So
you bring the thunder, Mike. You got the energy. You got the energy, man. So you know what's so funny? I just watched a movie, and this was profound to me the other day. I watched a movie called Soul Surfer. Okay.
Soul Surfer.
And it's about a girl that's a true story. And this goes to your point. So anybody, scared of making a decision. She's a surfer. She's in the water. She gets bit. Her arm gets chewed off by a shark. Okay. So she loves surfing. She heals up. She's about to go surfing again, bro. So she has one arm. She's going to go in the water. Jeez. And her mom asks her, she's like, hey, aren't you scared, afraid to go back into the water? Right. And this is her answer. She says, I'm afraid not to. Oof. And so that was a light bulb moment for me, man, because I was like, you know what? That's it. Some people are just afraid to make the decision where you should be afraid not to make the decision because you already know what current circumstances are. She already knew, hey, if I don't go in the water, my life's it's the same. But if I don't do it, what am I giving up? What's on the other side, right? And she was afraid of that reality. And
that's how I feel about showing up on my deathbed. That's why I have the hourglass analogy always top of mind. That's why I always see like, dude, that a lot of 30, 40% of that's already gone. I don't have that. Do I want to like put myself in a situation like I'm working now when I'm 60 or 70 or 80? I mean, I want to work, but it's not like I'm going to have the same energy or be, who I am today at that point in time. So that already shaves off the last 20% of your life. So then really it's like, I don't have as much time as I thought I had. Like I need to act and I need to act now. And it's like to that point, it's like, I'm scared not to. That's how I wake up. Dude, I'm scared not to put in the work right now and do this stuff because I'm going to end up not where I want to be. And that's a scary conversation to have with myself later.
That's right. That's right. Favorite book?
Man, I know. I don't know. For me, the one that I always recommend and go to, and it's not like a traditional one per se, but it really gets me jacked. And the audiobook specifically.
Which one's this?
Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone. That book, for me, it just, when I was working for B, is one of the books I read originally in that first few months. It's the only book that I look back that I'm like really like got me really excited about sales and really like the mindset of the salesperson and how day-to-day should be. So it changed a lot for me, my perspective, right? Like, and so it's not one of those most famous ones. I know a lot of people don't like Grant these days. And, I got nothing bad to say about Grant. I met the guy, we had No Boot together many years ago before he was really famous, So it was really interesting, but
yeah.
That being said, I would probably say Sell or Be Sold is my favorite audiobook ever. And I like, as far as like a reading book, I would probably have to say Outwitting the Devil.
Outwitting the Devil.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite books.
Yeah, I'd have to say written wise, that'd be the one. In audio for sure, Sell or Be Sold.
Jeez. Okay, hey, as we kind of wind it down on the podcast, man, we're gonna have to have you back, Mike. Wait, last thing, this is just a personal question. How do you keep your energy so high?
How do I keep my energy?
You're one of the most energetic people I've ever met. Like, just bar none. Always energetic. Always just.
I think life excites me, Rich. I think every little thing excites me. Like, I get excited about the dumbest, smallest little things. I just look forward to it, So I think I'm a simple guy.
Yep.
I want a lot of things. I want a lot of houses. I want a lot of cars. I want a lot of money. I want this, that. But it's still simple to me. It's like, I want to live a simple life. I don't need a lot to get by. For me, it's like I like family, I like working out, I like cars, right? And I love eating food and surrounding myself with guests and having that whole experience where we're bonding, having a nice meal, right? I get excited about little things. Even like I ordered something on Amazon, like it's a whatever. It could be a deodorant or something. That excites me. Like, oh, I got to package it, right? Every little thing excites. I don't know where that stems from.
Yeah.
I think if I had to go deep, and I've never talked to a psychiatrist, but if I did, I would imagine it probably stemmed from how I grew up and how my parents taught me and the simplicity that we had. And, you know, they were immigrants and foreigners. And I'm sure that had something to do with it if I really go deep into it. But I don't know, man. I just get excited about little things. I don't need a lot to get going. And I love life. You know, I'm just a big proponent of living in the moment, enjoying how many times do I come out here and tell you how great the weather is and the clouds
100%.
and the sun? How many times? Every day.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, this is the nicest day I've had, you know, like
100%.
So I think it's a mindset too. I think I've just made up my mind that this is how I want to be, because you can choose to be the opposite of that. But how is that going to benefit me or anyone around me?
How's it going to serve you?
How's it going to serve me or anyone around me?
Or anybody around you?
Yeah, I'm looking to make impact. I'm looking to make change. And so I like being that person because I get to hopefully be a light to other people around me that I can inspire maybe to also be that person. So
100%.
That's how I see it.
The most common thing, I feel like that's the most common thing that you get, Mike, is like, I want to be around him. His energy, his aura. It's something about Mike. Even all the coaching students that we sign up for, you know, landing their first 6-figure gigs, it's always like, dude, Mike, something about Mike. I want to be part of that. So
I've been told that, not to toot my own horn. I've been told that everywhere, every work environment I've been in, there's like, dude, there's something about you. Again, I don't know if it's my family that raised me a certain way. I don't know if it's just I'm just a simple dude. I don't need a lot, like as far as to get by. And I just enjoy life, man. Things just make me, the weather makes me happy. Whether it's the rain or the sun, right? Hey,
you're smiling regardless.
I just had sun, so I'm enjoying the rain, right? Oh man, the rain's got, oh wait, the sun's back. I just try to look at everything in a positive lens, man. And I can't say exactly why. I think I just choose for it to be that way because it's a choice. I can choose for it to not be that way, right? And I've just figured I enjoy life more and I'm having more fun when I'm choosing to look at everything in a positive way versus a negative way.
Well, there you have it, folks. What do you want to leave them with, Mike? Like you asked me on the podcast, what do you want to leave the audience with? If there was something to fire them up.
Listen, guys, what I'll say is this, you know, Rich, I'm fortunate enough to be here. Rich is there, you know, we shared my story here. I would love an opportunity for you to be in this chair where Terrence just was, where Christian just was, where Melissa's about to be, where a lot of our other future coaching students are coming. I want you to be in this chair and I want to be in that chair interviewing you, right? So if you're serious about this, guys, like stop overthinking. Click that first link under the description right here. Schedule a call with me. Like, let's jump on a call, figure out where you're at. If it makes sense, if this is something you're looking to do, like, let's do it, right? Don't overthink it. Like, we have a way for everyone to be able to get started here. And the important thing is it something you want to do? Do you have the intention? If so, let me help you get it done, right? Let me help you get it done. Like one-on-one coaching with me, right? So that's what I would say is if you're on the fence about this or you're looking to get into this, like stop overthinking it. Just do it. Just do it. That's what I want to leave them with.
Just do it. Like Nike says.
And hopefully my story was a little bit of a testament to how this all goes, you know, and all you got to do is make a decision and then get clarity. And the next thing you know, right, you can be right here with us.
Boom. Well, hey, Mike, thanks for being on the podcast, brother. And then, hey, if you are not inside the Closers Network yet, there's also a link in the description to join us. We'll show you how to, enter the remote sales revolution. We go live coaching 5 days a week, nothing but value to get you started on your journey so you can be a Mike, a Terrence, a Christian, a Michelle, all those people inside of our network. All right, guys. Mike, thanks so much. We'll see you for the next one, guys. This will be posted soon, and peace out.
Peace out. Thanks, Rich, man.